All right, Broncos country, we are back. Thanks you for watching the big show tonight. Thanks you. Yeah, I said that. Broncos sit at 13-3 in the number one position, the driver's seat of the AFC playoff race. Been a while since we could say that. In fact, it was 2016 when Peyton came in to play that second half against the Chargers, coincidentally. And here we are again against the Chargers, trying to lock up the number one seed. What a world we live in. What a great time to be a Broncos fan. Guys, welcome to the Mile High Monster. I'm your host, Mike Carmelini. The Broncos sit at number one. As you know, the Patriots are right on their heels. So this is a must win for Denver. Patriots are most likely going to win their game. And the Chargers are sitting at the sixth spot currently. Not a lot of movement available for them. So it's kind of a weird game, right? We've got the Chargers putting out their injury report. It's a little weird, right? They've got now Hampton's out. Harbaugh has stated that Herbert will not play. And he didn't practice. So Derwin James didn't practice, or he did practice. Mac did not. So we don't really know if he's resting his starters, if he's going to play all of them except for Justin Herbert. So it's a little bit of a weird situation. Now, I know that Sean Payton has stated that he's treating this as a playoff game. He's planning on everybody playing, and that's the right mindset. On the Broncos side, Adkins, full participation in practice. That's great news. And of course, Pat Bryant is back from that concussion with a full participation in practice. So the only other notable one, well, there's a couple of them. JFM still got that hip he's dealing with. Don't know if we'll see him. And then, of course, Greenlaw is out. Probably best to rest him up because we're going to the playoffs either way. We're going to have a home playoff game. But I titled this show the biggest game of Bo Nix's career, short career, 2 years. But this, I believe, is the biggest game historically for the city of Denver, for Broncos fans, for the team itself. Again, I'll remind you, the Broncos played in 2016 for the 2015 season. We played the Chargers in that last game. And winning that game gave us home field advantage throughout the playoffs and a Super Bowl victory. I can tell you, if you didn't watch those games, the Broncos were not really on fire at that time. They needed that break. They needed that home field advantage, and they got it. And then they took advantage of it by taking down the Carolina Panthers in the Super Bowl. So is this the biggest game of Bo's career? Well, I think we can certainly argue it. There's a few other, I don't know, contestants, possibilities. I think that last year you could look at the 38-0 win over the backups that the Chiefs put on the field, gave them a playoff spot. Remember, they had to win one of their last three games just to get into the playoffs. And what a difference a year makes, right? Like I said this on Twitter. Last year, we had to win a game just to get in. And now we've been in for a while. We've already won the AFC West, and now we're just going for seeding. And again, it could be the number one seed in the playoffs. Home field advantage, a bye week. It's just a huge, huge game. But you can look at that game in Kansas City. That was week 18 of last year. Again, we blew out the backups and clinched a playoff berth. Probably a bigger game than that for me would be this year when we beat the Green Bay, real quality win. You remember the fraud talk and all that, how we couldn't beat this or we couldn't do that. That's all BS. You guys know that. But beating Green Bay was a huge game. Clinched the playoff berth for the back-to-back for the first time since 2014 and 2015. Certainly put the Broncos in as an AFC favorite. And by the way, guys, I am going to try and get through this as quick as possible because I know there's a huge game coming on that a lot of us are going to want to watch between the 49ers and Seattle. That's a battle for the first overall seed in the NFC. Should be a great game. And I saw a stat today. This is I'm just cuffing this whole thing, but you realize that Sam Darnold has played Week 18 2 years in a row for two different teams for the number one seed in the NFC. What a crazy stat that is. Darnold is better than many people thought. Like, he's just a really good quarterback. I think the third most important one, I did kind of make a list here. I thought of that this year's 22-19 win over Kansas City. That was huge. Remember, we had the block kick. That heartbreaking loss was kind of made up for that one because Bo drove us downfield, got us in position for a game-winning field goal by Will Lutz. Huge, great season from Will Lutz, right? You got to hand it to him. That was a really big win, I think, for the Broncos. And it just felt good. And then, of course, we also beat Kansas City. It was 2013. That was last. So it's Christmas Day. It's a road win in Kansas City. I don't care who they're starting, who they're playing. The Kansas City Chiefs are tough to win at home, and they showed that with most of their starters out there on defense, creating a lot of havoc. Just a gut check win. But that was the sweeping of the Chiefs and clinching the AFC West the next day when the Chargers couldn't get it done. So the Chargers started charging. And so now here we are, Week 18, and 13-3, number one seed, playing the Chargers again at home to lock up the number one seed in the AFC. What a crazy, crazy thing to think about when you think back to, I hate to do this to you guys, let's go back 2 years, Russell Wilson, Sean Payton, basically hating each other by this point. We don't know who we're going to draft. We're already talking about draft position, what's going to happen. Zach Seegers has been had this famous tweet about how we could move on from Russ, and everybody was like, freaking out about it. And then it literally turned out just the way he said. We took all that cap money that we're still carrying, by the way, and in this position. This is supposed to be like year 2 of our rebuild, and we're sitting here in the driver's seat for the first round bye, home field advantage throughout the playoffs. This is a massive game for Bo Nix. Let's take a little quick look at this game, shall we? Now, it's kind of weird to do this. I do this for every game, and normally I'll have Colin Cronin or David from David Talks Broncos with me for this show, but I'll just wing it tonight. It's a little, it kind of doesn't matter because Herbert's not playing. We don't really know who's playing, but we'll compare the teams real quick. Overall for the season, at a glance, now the Broncos are averaging 24 points a game. Now, I've been saying this for years. With the defense we have, if you can score 24 points a game, you should win every time you play. Now, the defense has leaked a little bit lately. I think we can all agree on that the offense certainly has its problems. We can talk about drops or Bo being a little inconsistent occasionally, but we're going to talk about Bo in a second. I think he's maybe a little better than some other fan bases think. But 24 points a game. The Chargers are at 22.8 points a game. I'm not expecting that out of them tomorrow. With Lance playing, Trey Lance is going to be starting. Now, he's going to cause some problems. One of the problems that our defense does have is handling running quarterbacks, certainly scrambling quarterbacks who can run. There's a difference there. Running quarterbacks would be more like a Mike Vick or, that type where they just look to run. But quarterbacks who can pass, move in the pocket, and then also run, which of course Bo Nix can do. And I think we're going to see that starting. And we've already seen some of that, but I think we're going to see that starting tomorrow. With the playoffs on the line, I don't think Sean Payton is going to be holding back on Bo taking off and running anymore. And I think he did really well, kind of reining him in saving that for the playoffs. I think you're going to see that play out. Yards per game for these teams, very even. They're within like 7-8 yards, it looks like. Time of possession also. These coaches play kind of the same game. Keep away. They try to control the clock and get out of there with a defensive win. That's going to play out tomorrow kind of that way, I think. I don't think we're going to see that 38-0 game like we saw against the Chiefs in week 18. I don't think it's going to be that kind of game. Excuse me. Got to have it. Big difference. The biggest difference is sacks, of course. Broncos set at 64, which is first in the league. Going for a team record, probably not going to get the league record now. I think that ship has sailed, but the Chargers have 41 sacks with Khalil Mack out. I'd be really surprised if they sack Bo more than once tomorrow. I think they'll have some opportunities. Sean's going to want to protect the ball. He's going to definitely try and get Bo to not take any chances throwing the ball. He's not, turnovers is the one thing that really separates this team as well. The Broncos are -5 in turnovers ratio, or not ratio, but overall differential. And then the Chargers are on the plus side, and it's very rare that a team on the negative side would be doing as well as the Broncos. But we've managed to do that. And a lot of people are talking about the Broncos defense not getting turnovers. Now, if it just returns to the mean, which it generally does, which means the team should be having more turnovers. You've seen Hufanga drop a few. You've seen, I don't know. You've seen most of our defensive backs have interceptions in their hands. You've seen some fumbles bounce the wrong way. I think this could turn, and if it does, look out, because the Broncos have been getting all this done with a -5 turnover differential. That's a big deal. Let's talk a little bit about Bo Nix. Now, I already went over kind of why I think this game is so big for Bo, but I do want to talk about a few things when it comes to Bo. Here's perhaps not stats, but like records or accomplishments. So sitting here right now, Bo Nix is the only QB in NFL history with 20 wins, 7,500 yards, and 50 passing touchdowns in his first 2 seasons. There's a lot of seasons. There's a lot of rookie quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks that have come through the league. That's a pretty big deal. He's the only one to ever do it. He's also the 3rd QB in history with 3,500 passing yards, 25 passing touchdowns in each of his first 2 seasons. So we can forget the sophomore slump, right? That ship was set out to sail at the beginning of the year, how we were watching for the sophomore slump. Did Bo Nix ever seem like a guy that was going to slump in his second year? I think he just kind of works too hard. I think the marriage between he and Sean works too well. He's got 64 starts or 61 or 64 starts in college. Guy's played too much football to have a slump. I just never saw that coming from him. And I think most of our fan base feels the same way. He just doesn't seem like that guy. Tied for most game-winning drives by a QB in his first 2 seasons with 10. This is really good company. Andrew Luck, right? That's a big one. First player in NFL history to have at least 2 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns in a single quarter. Remember that crazy comeback win over the Giants? That was an eye-opening game, but not one of his biggest games. But still, it showed the potential of what this offense can do when Sean lets the reins off and kind of lets Bo create, which I think still to this day is what he does best. The good news is that he gains years and experience. Remember, we're only in year 2. As Bo gains more experience and more time under center, more time under the same offense, this is the first 2 years he's ever had the same offense and same offensive coordinator in his whole career. Probably since high school, I think, if I remember right. He's going to get better at all the on the schedule stuff. The off schedule stuff has been very impressive. I think he's very underrated by that. He's not a turnover king. He's got like 11 interceptions over the year and 25 touchdowns. You'll take that any day of the week. Second most wins by a QB in his first 2 seasons at 23. If he wins tomorrow, he ties, of all people, Russell Wilson. But Russell Wilson with the Seahawks came out on fire. Let's be honest. He was nothing like that when the Broncos had him, but you've got to hand it to Russ. Young Russ, when he came out, he was something else, man. He was a player. And to get that win tomorrow and tie for the most wins by a QB in his first 2 seasons, I think would just be incredible. And then just a quick look back on his rookie season. Remember against the Chiefs in week 18, 89.7% completion percentage, the highest single game completion percentage by a rookie ever. Great stuff. And of course, he was the first rookie in NFL history with multiple games of 300 passing yards and 4 touchdown passing TDs and 140 plus rating. Amazing stuff. All adds up to 7,500 something yards and 54 touchdowns. So great stuff. I think there's one more tomorrow. I don't have it listed here, but I think I saw somewhere, and somebody can check me on this in the chat if I'm wrong, but I think Bo only needs, well, let's just do the math real quick. He needs like, 75, so it's 3790. He needs 210 yards passing tomorrow to get 4,000 passing yards on the season. How long has it been since we've seen that? Probably Peyton Manning, my guess would be. So not only is it a huge game for Denver, a huge game for Bo Nix, it's there's a lot on the line here. And just to be in a position to do something like that, honestly, is incredible. And I hope we're all enjoying it. So, all right, here's the clinching scenarios for tomorrow. And we'll just do the AFC. We don't care about the NFC. We'll see them when we see them in the Super Bowl, right? Because we're going to the Super Bowl. Obviously, Denver tomorrow gets the number 1 seed with a win. That's it. They need a win. Now, if they lose, which they shouldn't, if they do, then New England and Jacksonville loss would get them that number 1 seed. Of course, New England needs Denver to lose and a win. Jacksonville needs to win and have Denver and New England both lose. It's not like Jacksonville has a great home field advantage, but certainly we don't want to go on the road to play a team that just beat us at home and kind of beat us up really well. That matchup did not work out well for Vance Joseph. I was all over him for that. I think a lot of us were. Any other teams? Houston keeps the 3 with a win. Now Pittsburgh will get the 4th seed with a win. And Baltimore will get the 4th seed with a win. And that's because they play each other. So that's literally a playoff game for them as well tomorrow. That's going to be exciting. Tomorrow's a great slate of games. The rest is all 4th, 5th, 6th seeds. I guess we could talk about the Chargers real quick. If the Chargers win and Houston loses, they would get the 5 seed. This is why Harbaugh's probably not playing Justin Herbert. There's just not a big difference between any of this. There's some other scenarios where they can get the 5 seed. But the 6th seed is basically theirs. Why even bother? Here's a kind of a weird one. Jacksonville can literally be the number 1 seed by tomorrow night or the 6th seed by tomorrow night. Like, that is a huge swing for a team. I find that fascinating. Buffalo, they need a win to get the 6th seed. They get the 7th seed. I think that's kind of locked up. In fact, let's take a look at the latest kind of the playoff picture here. 1 Broncos, 2 Patriots, 3 Jags. Probably nothing's going to move there. Where it gets interesting, of course, is the Steelers and Ravens for that 4th seed. win and you're in, lose and you're out. It's incredible drama. Uh, and you've got like pick 'em, right? Like which would be the better story? Is one way to look at this, but which would be the better matchup for the Broncos? I'd kind of like to see the Steelers if we had to play one of those. I think that they would kill the Steelers. Texans 5, Chargers 6, Bills at 7. That's none of that stuff's really probably going to move much. If it does, um, it I don't think it really affects the race for us. Where it's interesting tonight, in fact, this game's kicking off, so I'm going to get you guys out of here pretty quick here. Seahawks, 49ers. Seahawks are at 1, 49ers are at 5. And so I don't know where the Seahawks go if the Niners win, but the Niners would take over the number 1 seed with a win. Just great drama. And then, of course, the Bucks and the Panthers with just a crazy, weirdly officiated game, sitting at 8 and 9 and waiting for, I believe it's the Falcons. I'd have to go up here and look at this NFC scenarios. I think there's a scenario. Okay. So Carolina gets the 4th seed if Atlanta wins. Tampa Bay gets the 49er or the 4th seed if the Falcons lose. So kind of a crazy week for them. It kind of reminds me of where the Broncos used to be when we needed all kinds of different things to happen just to get into the playoffs. What a luxury to not be sitting there anymore. It's a pleasure to be at the number 1, at the top of the heap. And, we take care of our own business at home against a depleted Chargers team, and we take it all away. Here's a few things we need to watch tomorrow. The rushing game. Now, J.K. Dobbins, I've said this before, is still the leading rusher for the Denver Broncos, and he's been out for quite a while. Now, what I will say is Harvey has improved quite a bit. He's still a dangerous weapon in the passing game. He's got a bunch of touchdowns, but he's just under 4 yards a carry now. It was a little worse. He's gotten a little better, but 7 touchdowns, so a factor there. He's got 512 yards. He needs to have, let's call it 2 really good games tomorrow and then the divisional round. Now, maybe we get back JK, who averages over 5 yards a carry, in time for the championship game. But apparently it's still hovering around the Super Bowl, which we here in Denver are certainly hoping to get to. So we'll keep an eye on what Harvey does and McLaughlin does. Now, McLaughlin, get this, guys, this is crazy. I have to believe that Sean Payton is finally rethinking maybe his strategy here. Jaleel is averaging 4.7 yards a carry, and there's a plenty sample size now to call that a pattern. I firmly believe that McLaughlin should be your first, second down kind of back, and then Harvey should be more of the third down back. And of course, you can mix it in based on yardage to first, or if you get nothing on first down, maybe he comes in on second down. But Jaleel seems more comfortable on a down-to-down basis, certainly closer to what we were getting from JK before he went out. Now, this is something that could bite us in the playoffs. If we can't get the run game going, then it's all going to be on Bo, who I definitely trust to do a great job. But if he's running solo with no running game, we're going to have to look at that. Now, are we going to get a little more help from the tight end group? I don't know. Atkins is coming back. Prentice has made a few appearances. Sure, they'll try and do something with Mims out of the backfield, but in the end of the day, obviously Sean's not looking at Bidet. He's only got 6 carries on the whole season. So it's going to be McLaughlin and RJ in the run game. They're going to have to carry that. And I think they will. I think that the Chargers will be tough to run against tomorrow, though. No doubts there. Receiving core. We've talked about this a lot this season. The drops. I saw a great take on this from Zach earlier today about the Broncos being second in the league in drops, just behind the Jaguars. But again, it's not really the reason the offense has been struggling as much. They have it's like one catch a game difference. Now, we don't have the splits. We don't know how critical those some of those catches certainly where I remember some that, would have been a first down or could have been a touchdown. But for the most part, the drops are an issue, but I don't think that's something that's going to hold us back. Court's over 1,000 yards again. He's got 7 touchdowns. Franklin, which everybody tried to tell me at the beginning of the season, and I didn't listen. I thought Mims would be wide receiver 2 this year. That is very far from the truth. It was Troy Franklin. Well done, Troy. Got over his dropsies, just the terrible ones. He still drops a few more than he should, but he's sitting at 700 yards. He's got 6 touchdowns. He's got a really solid season. 280 yards after catch too is a good number. And then Evan Ingram, our tight end, slowly kind of becoming more and more of the offense. I wonder if he's being saved up a little bit. I'm a Troutman fan, by the way. He never drops the ball. Like, he catches everything. He's just too slow and lumbering for too much. But did you see that catch? Was it last week? Laying on his back, catching the ball. Still dependable. The one that's interesting to me, well, besides Harvey, who's the next leading receiver on the team with 351. This is a running back, guys. 5 touchdowns, 46 receptions, 351 yards. Just a weapon out of the backfield. Just let the reins off of that and use that until they stop it. But bringing Pat Bryant back tomorrow night is huge. Keep him healthy. Going to need him in the playoffs. I always say he's got the best hands on the team. If he doesn't, it's number 2. He's going to be something special. It's just got to keep him healthy, get him some more reps. But I do agree that it's a little hard for me to sit and brag on Pat Bryant when he's only got 27 catches on the year. So forgive me for being that. Nobody else really here to talk about. Humphrey was kind of a surprise, though. Let's be honest. He came in, signed him, took him off the practice squad, and then made big impacts in a few of those games. Be interesting to see if they use him tomorrow. But this game's hard to, again, I repeat, it's hard to do heavy analysis on a team when we don't really know who they're playing as far as the Chargers go. But I promise you, Harbaugh will try and do like Andy Reid did to us, that 20-13 win with some unknown, bench rider coming in and having move the ball into scoring range close enough to tie that ball game. I guarantee you, if the receiver made that catch in the end zone on that last play of the game, they would have gone for 2 to win it, and that would have been probably as heart stomping as the one that Benito knocked down against the Commanders. So huge game. I think most of you would agree this is probably the biggest game of the Broncos since probably for 9 years. And it's basically just the importance of having that number 1 seed is huge for a team with a home field advantage like the Broncos do. I'd like to just shout out Chris real quick. Us with KO one good. The next week and tomorrow, soon you will be best on Monday night. Yeah. I think what he's saying is we're going to get it. Thanks, Chris, coming in. I love that. Yeah, we're going to get this game, guys. We have to. It's a must win in some ways. We're going to get a home playoff game anyway. But the Broncos are definitely, I guess I would say in the nice way, I think they should be favored to get to the Super Bowl if they win tomorrow with home field advantage and all that. But it's definitely a playoff game, right? It's a game that means so much in the seeding to get that bye week, to get some of these players, Greenlaw included, JK, Pat Bryant. Just get these guys healthy and rested. Give Sean time to game plan. Huge game. Zach comes in, says it's a playoff game. Yeah, man, it is. It's totally a playoff game. It's not a win and in because we're already in, but the repercussions of losing this game are not something we're going to talk about, but the rewards of winning this game are just massive. It's a great time to be a Broncos fans. Let's all get out. If you got the time tonight, watch some good football and relax. I think this game's going to be fun. 49ers, Seahawks, root for whoever you like. I think it'd be I just like Sam Darnold as the underdog story. But I'm a Purdy guy too. The way he was beat up on for being, such a late draft pick, with no physical skills. You hear it all the time. And then the guy's just out there just balling. So not really going to pick a team. Just hope for a great game and hope for a blowout tomorrow. We will see you back on this show tomorrow right after the game. Let's Talk Broncos with Zach Seegers. David talks Broncos and myself on the Monsters. We'll be here right after the game. Fastest growing post-game show in Broncos country. So we appreciate you all for tuning in for that. Appreciate you all in the chat. It's always great catching up with you guys. We'll keep this one short and go Broncos, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already.